Everybody, it is Tito Capote, and we're back with another deck profile. So, what we're doing today is we're doing Purrely. It's Naturia Purrely, actually. I think that, well, I worked really hard on this deck. I actually built, this is one of the decks that I built all on my own. I didn't really take reference to anything. I just, like, people recommended, it's like, oh, hey, Naturia works well with it, and I sort of worked out what ratios I liked and what cards to put in, and it's a really good product. So what this video is going to do, I'm going to go more into card explanations, tell you what the effects are because it's a new archetype, tell you what the synergies are, tell you why the deck works. So first, let's go into why I did Naturia Purrely. So when Purrely first came out, I tried everything to make it pure. I tried everything to just do kitty cat go boom. But that didn't work because a lot of the problem with the deck is that it's too much. It's too resource heavy. Like it's all the special summon effects have to discard to do something, and a lot of the times you don't get the excavation of Purrely like to work, to reveal something that you want. But the Naturia stuff really helps because all the Naturia stuff gives you advantage, and when sent to the graveyard, they all have really cool effects. It helps you get into Naturia Beast. It allows you to play more level ones because of Mole Cricket. And it helps you mill the deck out, which is the most important part because you want those excavations to get you quick play spells, or even the field spell or the continuous spell. So I'll explain more as we go on into the deck profile. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna say and pause a lot just because I'm stupid. I don't know how to do things. But anyway, let's get into it. So first, the hand traps that I'm playing are 3 Ghost Spell and 3 Ash Blossom. Now you might be saying, why the hell aren't you playing Bestials? Bestials are insane. It's because literally the only thing going first, the only thing this deck loses to, and the only thing that I've lost to with this deck is um main deck Lava Golem. So a lot of people aren't maining kaiju's, but some people are maining Lava Golem because Lava Golem gets rid of a lot of stuff. Like in the tier matchup, in the sprite matchup, it's really good, and especially stuff like Labyrinth can search it. So because of that, I went away from playing Bestials and went more into these 3 hand traps. One, to stop Bestials on your Purrely, and 2, because Ash is just an all-around great card. I could have gone DD Crow, but I think Ash is just a more universal card. Yeah, it doesn't hose uh, what's it called? Tier as much because they can chain block, but you get rid of one effect. It's basically the same as a DD Crow, and against other decks, it's just all around better. So that's why I'm playing these cards. Then we have 3. I'm going to go into the Naturia part of the deck. Stop it, Kitty. I'm going to go into the Naturia part of the deck first. So we have Mole Cricket. What this card does is when it's on the field, you can quick effect tribute at its cost to summon 1 Naturia monster from deck. 2 if your opponent controls the monster with the most attack. And then when it's in the graveyard, if if an extra deck monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, or or you summon a Naturia monster, you can summon this back from the graveyard. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to go to Naturia Beast with the Camilla, and then summon it back when the Naturia Beast is summoned to be able to go into something like Sunflower during your turn. Which is really helpful. And if you don't have a lot of attacks, say because you haven't gotten to Noir and you're stuck on Plump or stuck on a Beauty, it helps you go into Camilla and a Naturia Sunflower, which equals up to 2 negates per turn. So which is really good. Also, it's a level 1, which does matter sometimes, and that'll come up a bit later. But it's a really good card. It really helps because it does stuff in the graveyard. So if you pitch it, it doesn't matter as much because a lot of the time your normal summon is going to be used on Camilla instead of Purrely. Purrely you want in the deck for sure. You don't really want to see a Purrely in your hand, in your opening hand at least. And you even if you do, you don't really want to normal summon it unless you're like hounding for the quick play spells. Then we have Camilla. What this does is on summon, you can send a Naturia monster from deck to grave, and if it would tribute if you would tribute a if a Naturia monster would tribute something for its effect, you can send the top two cards of your deck into the graveyard instead. And if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can special summon a monster Naturia monster from your graveyard. Um, it just really helps. It helps get you advantage and help recuperate the losses of the quick play spells, as well as just get you Naturia Beast, which is really good. It's just an all around great card, and it helps you just get advantage off the graveyard, right? So it's really good. Then we have one Naturia Sunflower. I somehow always open this card, and I always hate it, but what this does is you, basically with Camilla on the field, it's an Omni negate. It's a monster negate, sorry. It negates a monster effect, and then you can do it again. It attributes itself and another Naturia monster as cost, but you can do it twice with Camilla because it changes it to mill, and it's not once per turn, so you can't activate it twice per turn. And then the main reason why Naturia works so well with this deck is Naturia Sacred Tree. Now, this card is not once per turn, and its main effect, you don't really care about the actual trap card effect. What you care about is when it's sent to the graveyard, you can activate a Naturia card from your deck to your hand. So any of the monsters, if you need them, or what you're adding most of the time is Naturia Blessing. Now, why is this? Is because this allows you to summon a Naturia monster from your deck, not deck, so a hand or graveyard, which is great because it lets you go into Naturia Beast and then get that extra summon off Mole Cricket for the follow up on your opponent's turn to be able to get a negate. So we play two of Naturia Blessings. Sorry, two of them, because one isn't enough usually for the grand game, but three is I think a bit too much because you won't be able to use it three times usually. Then another great thing about the Naturia stuff is that they're all earth monsters, so you can't be Bystials. One great thing about this deck is that Bystials basically do nothing against it because I don't care if they have, like, you don't care if they have a 2500 attack monster that sends when it's sent to graveyard, and if they get rid of one of your Purrelys in graveyard, then that's fine. Usually you can play around it by not detaching Purrely off the Xyz monsters, which is really easy to do. And then we have the main guy, the main little guy, whose cuteness forced me to build this deck, Purrely. So, one great thing about the Purrely monsters is that most of the card effects in the Purrely deck are not once per turn, not even soft once per turn, which is insane. Purrely, the quick play spells, they are not once per turn, which is silly because of what effects these guys have. So what this guy has is when it's normally special summoned, you can excavate the top three cards, so reveal the top three cards of your deck. And you can add one Purrely spell trap to your hand and place the rest on the top of your deck in any order. Once per turn during your main phase, you can reveal one Purrely quick play spell in your hand and special summon one Xyz monster from your extra deck that mentions that card and attach it to it as material. So this is basically just a free Xyz monster once you get the card that you want in your hand, which is really easy because you can summon up to three of these for per turn, which is insane. This card is so silly, and you're going to see why when I get to the extra deck. The extra deck monsters in this deck are silly, and people are sleeping on it, and I'm like, dude, I've tested so much with this. Tier has a really hard time with this. Sprite has a really hard time with this. Although Sprite has a better matchup against this going when you go second, but that's if you like don't interrupt them with Bell for their Sprite Elf. If you do have a Bell in your hand, then it's fantastic because um, it's just great, and that's only if they can get the Toad recursion on the field, so it's not always. But anyway, Purrely, insane. He's level 1 as well, which is really important. I'll tell you guys why later when we get to the extra deck. Then we have probably the most important quick play spell. So what this is Delicious Memory, and what it does is when you this works. You to activate it, you choose one monster on the field and it make it unable to be destroyed by battle until your opponent's next turn. Then you can, after choosing the card, you can apply the following effect. This means that it is at resolution. So if your opponent chooses to negate this card, you do not have to discard, and that is very important because it means that you don't lose that advantage, and the advantage is actually really important in this deck because you have to have cards to discard to be able to special summon, right? Which is why the Naturia stuff works so well with it. Then what the effect that you care about is you can discard one card, and if you do special summon one level one Purrely monster from your deck. So it's basically a free monster from the deck that gets you into everything. The new support for this deck is going to make this deck actually crazy. Maybe I'll go over the new support in another video. I don't know. I'm really excited about this deck, so I might be inclined to do that. But anyway, and all the Purrely quick play spells have effects that they give the Xyz monster when it's equipped to it as material. So this one makes it gain 300 attack and defense for each material attacked to it. So what's cool about this is that it stacks. So if you have one copy of Delicious Memory attached, it gains 300 for each card. If you have two, it gains 600 for each card. If you have three, it gains 900 for each card. Because of this, I have gotten Noir up to, I think, 9,300 attack and something like 10,800, 10,700 defense, somewhere around that, which is crazy because nothing is ever going to get over that. And you'll see why when I get into Noir. But for now, let's just get into more spell cards. Now, I've been borrowing two copies from a friend when I've been playing this, but my friend Purrely, what this does is you can, it's a continuous spell card, which is honestly great because you can activate it every turn if your opponent doesn't get rid of it. You can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Purrely cards from your deck except My Friend Purrely, and your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to your hand. Then shuffle the rest in your deck. So what's great about this is you can reveal 3 of the same one. So if you don't have Delicious Memory in your hand, or if you already have something, you can just search for the field spell, which is insane. So it's basically just a search card that is sort of the power gets lower and lower the longer you go into the game, which I think is a decent way to balance it. I still think it's crazy. And then the other effect, because it has another effect, is what if a face-up Purrely Xyz monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect leaves the field. You can add up to 3 Purrely quick play cards with different names from your graveyard to your hand. So it's just recursion. So that's My Friend Purrely. It's great. Then we have Purrely Pretty Memory. Again, I've been borrowing one from a friend. Each player gains 1,000 life points. Then you can apply the following effects. Discard one card, and if you do, special summon one level 1 Purrely monster from your deck. Then it has the it gains 1,000 life points. Then once per turn, the attachment effect, I guess, is you can send non-targeting a card from your field to attach a monster from your opponent's field. No, one card your opponent controls and attach it to the Xyz monster's material, which is insane. It's like I don't even know. I don't even know. It's just the best kind of removal because it gives you advantage and it screws over your opponent, and it spells and traps too. So if they have something like there can be only one if you want to go for game, or if they have something like I don't know, I don't even know what other card. You can just stop it. Like you can just say no, which is crazy. It's not a quick effect, but who cares? Then we have 3 Purrely Happy Memory. What this does is you can choose one card in the field until the end of the next turn. The first time it would be destroyed by card effect, it's not destroyed, which is great. Then after choosing a card, you can discard one card, summon from deck, which is what they all do. And when it's attached to a card, this one helps you go for game because you can attack up to one times more than the number of Purrely Happy Memories you have attached to the card. So 1 would give you 2 attacks, 2 would give you 3, 3 would give you 4. So you can do that, which is crazy. It helps you go for game. It helps you clear the board with Noir if they have some monsters that you're worried about later on. Then this card. This card has 3 separate effects, and they are all insane. The first one is with a turn that they are summoned, Purrely Xyz and Purrely main deck monsters cannot be targeted by card effects. This basically ensures that your plays are going to go through, which is really good because you want your plays to go through because you want to get into Noir. Then the second effect is when a face-up Purrely Exceeds monster you control leaves the field because an opponent's card effect leaves the field. Again, not even just sent to graveyard, not banished, not returned to hand, just all of them. Um, then you can summon a Purrely monster from your graveyard to try to recuperate advantage and go into another Purrely the next turn. Then the last effect, which I think is the best effect because it's like very deck specific. What it does is at the end phase, during your opponent's end phase, or during your end phase, you can attach a quick play Purrely spell card to an Xyz monster to Purrely Xyz monster you control, which is silly because it basically means you get to choose any of the effects that the quick play cards give your Xyz monster and just add it to the monster when you need it. Then we have Pearl Leap. This one I think is the one. This is one of the once per turn one. This one and My Friend are the once per turn cards. So what this one is you can target one Pearly Xyz monster you control, special from your extra deck, one Pearly Xyz monster with a different rank. And it is destroyed during the next monster, and you transfer its materials to it, and it is destroyed during the next end phase. And when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to shuffle back up to 3 Pearly monsters from your graveyard back into your deck or extra deck because the um, X Pearly monsters or E Pearly monsters are all counted as Pearly monsters. Then we have the little extra cards in the deck, I guess. We have Triple Tactics Talent. This card is insane because a lot of times your opponent's going to try to get rid of Pearly or try to do something like a Bastille on your Pearly, and then you can just get more quick place cards, which is really great. I don't want to play 3 because 3 is just, I don't know. I don't like playing 3 Triple Tactics. I'm questionable about Triple Tactics in general, but I really like it in this deck because it's just a draw too. Then we have 1 for 1 because your Pearlies are 1 for 1, and Monster Reborn is insane in this deck, so we're playing this. I think it is 42 cards, but I think that's fine. You can cut it down to 40 by cutting down on the Pearl I think, or but I wouldn't cut out any of the other cards, just because I think they're all too good. I think Purleap is the weakest out of the bunch, but even then, it helps you in corner cases where you can't get the 7 materials on Noir in one turn. Um. Anyway, so uh, then the Noir I'm gonna save for last because I think it is the most important. These are the most important ones, so let's go over the least important ones. So we have X Pearly Happiness. What this is you can make it on basically a Pearly Xyz monster or rank 2 monster that has 5 materials or more. Um, and what it does is it's basically a dark ruler. Um, and it can attack if it attacks and it has a Pearly monster as material. Um, you can and it has 5 or more materials. You can deal 1,500 damage. And with that Pearly Happy Memory, you can just it's basically like an OTK tool. I play 2 of it because I played 2 of each Pearly monster except for the E Pearly Happiness because I think it's the weakest one. And that is because I'm prepping for Kashtira format where they can get rid of everything if you have 1 copy, which is like sometimes these do come up, so having at least one of them in the extra deck is really good. Then we have X Pearly Happiness. This one, when it attacks, you can add uh, a Pearly card from your deck to your hand, and then if it has a level 1 Pearly attack, if it has Happy Memory, sorry, you can have the attack of one of your opponent's monsters. Then Pearly Beauty, what it does is you can target. This one doesn't detach for any of its effects. Neither does Happiness. The only one that detaches for its effects are the big ones. The other ones just have the effects and just gain material, which is really cool because it helps. It's really good for going into Zeus. It's really good into going into Noir. The Pearly Beauty is really like sort of your backup plan. You play 2 of them, sorry. It's your backup plan for most of the things. It's if you can't get into Delicious Memory, you got into Beauty because it's just the next best thing, and it helps you sort of stall, I guess. But what and all of them have an effect when a quick play, except this one, have an effect when a quick play card is activated, and this one, what it does is it attaches the quick play card and then changes the battle position of an opponent's monster. Then I'll put this on. I don't. Again, this is another card that I'm borrowing from a friend, but I'll put the next two cards on the screen for you guys to see if you want to read the effect or you want to see its battle attack or defense. So we have Sylvan Princess Sprite. What this card does, the important effect is that you can detach one to reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a spell or trap, you add it to your hand. If not, then you send it to the graveyard. This is really good for getting your Naturia monsters online in the graveyard, or just adding another quick play spell. See, like just digging for something. A lot of the time, if your opponent interrupts you, you're going to have to gamble on Princess Sprite and see if you can pull another quick play spell, which is so fun. I kid you not. It is the most fun thing to just like bet everything on the next card. Like you feel like Yugi Moto, man. It's insane. I love the magic the gameplay that this card enables. Then one Naturia Beast. This is basically just spell negates from when your opponent activates spell cards. Every time they do, you can send the top two cards of your deck to the graveyard to negate it. Then we have one Relinquished Anima. All of your monsters are basically level 1, so um, you can just activate it. You can set it and steal one of your opponent's monsters if they're not careful. Then we have the Downard and the Zeus package. Now let's get into the real important cards. These are the cards that I think are extremely necessary at these numbers. So we have two Plump. If you always want to be able to go into, and once Cashtira format starts, I'm going to be playing 3 Plump, because you always want to be able to go into it twice, because that allows you to, if they clear your Noir for some crazy reason, maybe they have the Kaiju or anything, you go into Plump the next turn as well. So what Plump does is, as a quick effect, if it has a Purrely Xyz monster, or Purrely level 1 monster, you can attach up to 2 spells or traps from the either graveyard to it as material. Now this helps you equip Sacred Tree to get for advantage, or just more of the Purrely quick play spells to be able to get more effects. And when a quick play spell card is activated, a Purrely quick play spell card is activated, you can attach to this card, then choose, you don't have to banish one monster on the field until the end phase, which is really good because it's non-targeting removal. And then the main card of the deck, I even got one in Collector Rare, is Purrely Noir. So I'm going to read this effect and explain why it is so busted. So you can seize monster this card by using a rank 2 material you control with 5 or more materials. This card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects while it has 5 or more materials. You can detach 2 materials from this card, then target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard and place it on the bottom of the deck. This is a quick effect if this card has a level 1 Purrely as material. Now, why is this card broken? Because turn 1, your normal play, your normal basic play, is this card with at least 5 materials, usually 7 materials, 6 or 7 a lot of the time. So what does this mean? A lot of the times you're going to have 2 Delicious Memory, because that's what you want to do, either with the field spell or because of Excavation. So at minimum, this card is going to be 43 defense and 27 attack, or 26 attack, which is a lot to get over, especially when it is unaffected by activated effects. Now, if you don't know what that means or don't really understand what that means, it means the best way to explain it is any effect that starts a chain does not work on this card. That means Zeus. That means Dark Ruler no more. That means Forbidden Droplets. That means any card that does not have just a lingering effect. Even lingering effects, even stuff like what's it called? Abyss Dweller, or not Abyss Dweller. The only cards that I think would impact this card in the metagame right now are Kaiju's, Lava Golem, Skill Drain, and that's basically it. Skill Drain is the thing that I'm worried about the most because of Runic Sun or because of other things. But anything that activates, so like things that return to the deck don't work, things that send to the graveyard don't work, things that bounce to the hand don't work, things that don't target don't work. Anything that you think of that activates does not work on this card. And every turn with this field spell, you can gain a bunch of attack, getting it up to around 10,000 attack. And with multiple attacks, if you have a happiness memory, happy memory attack to it, and worst comes to worst, if you can't get a way to protect it with Happy Memory, if you use Purrely, you can go into like an 8 material Zeus, which is crazy. Anyway, that's the main gameplay of the deck. And I'm going to show you guys a test hand to be able to show you guys sort of how the deck really works. And yeah, let's get into it. Those of you who finished the video, my cat is very interested in my hero deck. You know she's a Yu-Gi-Oh player at heart. Yeah, okay, you stop trying to knock it down. So she's there. She likes playing with it. Just a little bit of extra stuff for you.